As if it couldn't get any messier, reports have now confirmed that Jim Jones completely lost control after seeing the video and actually attacked Cameron in a studio showdown that turned violent. Eyewitnesses say that the moment Jim walked into that room, his energy was off. The shocking video that surfaced shows Chrissy Lampkin, his longtime partner, in a private moment with none other than Cameron. It's grainy but unmistakable, showing the two in a dimly lit VIP section, leaning close, whispering and laughing in a way that has sent the internet into a frenzy. Jim simply swung his fists, knocked over chairs, and the entire altercation was captured on someone's phone. Now that video clip is going viral as well, igniting heated discussions on social media. Was Chrissy being unfaithful? Did Cameron cross a line? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Emotions are running high, loyalties are being tested, and the streets of Harlem have never felt colder. Stay tuned, because this scandal is far from over. It all started on a calm Sunday night, when the internet exploded with chaos. A blurry video clip started making the rounds on all platforms, and within hours it was making headlines. In the grainy footage, Chrissy Lampkin was seen sitting far too close to Cameron in what appeared to be a dimly lit lounge. There was an uncanny familiarity in the body language that immediately sparked suspicion. Chrissy leaned in with her hand and lightly brushed Cam's leg as he whispered something into her ear, making her smile in a way fans hadn't seen in years. For a few seconds, the camera captured her placing her hand on his chest, but it was enough to light the match that would burn everything down. Jim Jones was at home when he first saw the video, and the internet went into full meltdown mode. According to people close to him, he froze mid-scroll, staring at the screen in shock, and replayed it 3 times before throwing his phone across the room. He didn't say anything, just got up and left the house, going missing for hours. When he returned, his face looked like he hadn't slept and his eyes were red. It wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. Seeing the woman he'd been faithful to for so long get cozy with one of his oldest friends and occasional rivals hit hard. What's worse is that this wasn't just some random rumor. It was on video. The streets were talking, and this time Jim couldn't ignore it. The internet went crazy overnight. Fans flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with reactions. Hashtags like Dwalst Jim Cam and Nostra Chrissy Exposed were trending in every major city. Videos from old reality shows where Chrissy and Cam appeared to share suspiciously flirtatious energy started to resurface. Comments Cam had made that once seemed innocent now felt like clues everyone had missed. People were interpreting body language from clips that were 10 years old, making theories and connecting dots that maybe were never meant to connect. But the story had already formed. While fans speculated that Jim was spiraling, insiders claimed he spent the entire night pacing his house, replaying the video repeatedly in an attempt to figure out what went wrong. At one point, he allegedly called his mother, Nancy Jones, and broke down. Nancy, always protective of her son, didn't hesitate. "You need to confront this head-on, baby. Don't let them play you like this." At that point, Jim Jones went completely silent online. The following day, fans began to worry that he might be planning something drastic. Behind the scenes, Jim was attempting to contact Cameron. He texted and called but got no response. According to a close friend of Jim's, he wasn't even thinking about Chrissy at first. He just wanted answers from Cam. "Why would you do this to me?" Cameron's silence was deafening, as if he was acting like the whole thing didn't exist. 2 days later, everything exploded again. A leaked screenshot of Cameron's private direct message surfaced, showing him laughing off the situation while responding to a fan who said, "I stole his girl." Fans began tagging Jim wildly after seeing the post, which went viral in minutes. Jim Jones reportedly lost it when he saw it, grabbing his car keys, calling up a few of his people, and saying, "We need to talk face to face." However, sources claimed that this was no longer going to be a conversation. Jim drove directly to a studio in Harlem. When he pulled up, he didn't even knock. Instead, he pushed the door open and stormed inside. Cameron was in the middle of a session, laughing with a few friends, completely unaware of what was about to happen. According to witnesses, Jim walked straight up to Cam, didn't say a word, and punched him square in the jaw. The room went dead silent, and then chaos broke out. Cam staggered back, shocked, asking, "Yo, what?" He tried to push Jim away, but Jim threw another punch. It took 2 of Cam's boys to pull him off. Even then, Jim continued to yell, "I trusted you. I brought you into my house, and this is how you repay me?" Security hurried in seconds later and separated them, but the damage was done. Jim wasn't finished. "You think this is funny?" he yelled, grabbing Cam by the shirt. Similar to how Chrissy's video went viral, someone in the room captured a portion of the fight on camera, and suddenly, it was online. Jim and Cam's battle was being reenacted on every screen, leaving fans in disbelief. "This isn't a joke," one person wrote. Everyone agreed. The Dipset brotherhood was officially gone, and the treachery went further than anybody had anticipated. But even after the battle, Jim wasn't done. A few hours later, he went live on Instagram. Some blamed Cameron, while others claimed Jim overreacted. "Don't ever play with me like that. Loyalty over everything. I don't care if you've been my day one. If you cross me, it's done," he said, his lips slightly busted and his eyes still burning with rage. The comment section exploded with fans sending heart emojis and fire symbols, claiming he was speaking facts. Chrissy, on the other hand, had not said a word, which only fueled speculation. What was she hiding? Why hadn't she denied anything? As the video of the fight racked up millions of views, more questions surfaced. How long had this been going on? Was it a one-time incident or something deeper? As the smoke from the violent confrontation between Jim Jones and Cameron started to settle, the industry reacted. Blogs, influencers, and media outlets couldn't get enough. Shade Room, Fowler Alert, Hollywood Unlocked. Everyone was posting the fight clips and speculating what would happen next. Jim Jones wasn't looking for answers anymore. He had already made up his mind. What would Chrissy say if she finally broke her silence? In the midst of all this chaos, one voice remained silent: Chrissy's. There was no post, no story, no comment, and fans were beginning to turn against her, claiming her silence was as loud as the video itself. They wanted answers, a confession, or at least a denial. But Chrissy had disappeared from the public eye, which made matters worse. Cameron was attempting to control the damage. A day after the fight, he uploaded a video to his story where he and his crew were laughing, downplaying the entire incident as if it were a simple misunderstanding. "You'll believe everything you see online," he said, smirking. "Come on, man, that's family. This isn't that deep." However, the bruises on his face told the truth, and fans weren't buying it. Clown emojis and snake gifs flooded the comments, with people calling him out for breaking the sacred code of brotherhood. No matter how cool he tried to act, the narrative was out of his control now that Jim Jones had made it public. And there was no turning back. Behind closed doors, Chrissy was spiraling. According to someone in her inner circle, she was utterly overwhelmed by the backlash. Chrissy allegedly broke down in tears, locking herself in her apartment and ignoring calls from friends. The source revealed that she thought it would remain private, but now she felt like the entire world was against her. The guilt was present, but so was the fear that everything she had built with Jim was now permanently broken. She had been with him through love and loss, but this felt different, like the end. Then, just when things couldn't get any worse, a second video was released. This time, it was shot from a different angle, clearer, brighter, and longer. Instead of Chrissy and Cameron just sitting close, it showed them holding hands under the table, laughing. The internet went into full meltdown once more. As the video ended, Cameron leaned in, and Chrissy whispered something into his ear that made him nod with a slow, confident smile. It wasn't flirtation anymore. It was confirmation. Fans were shocked, hurt, and furious. They really played Jim like a fool. The pressure was mounting, and it was obvious something had to give. When Jim Jones saw the second video while in the studio, he didn't even flinch this time. According to a close associate, he was numb, as if his heart had already been torn out. Jim didn't say much. He just nodded slowly, turned off his phone, and kept recording music. However, the lyrics were darker and angrier, with lines like, "They stabbed me in the back and smiled while they did it." In snippets he posted later, it became clear he was using the booth to bleed out the pain, but even music couldn't conceal the storm building inside him. Mona Scott Young, the Love and hip-hop producer was in full crisis mode behind the scenes. She began phoning people to try to get exclusive interviews, raw footage, or anything else to capitalize on the buzz. She told her team that if they were falling apart, they'd be on camera every second of it. Meetings were set up, deals were discussed, and there was talk of a live reunion special that would bring Jim, Chrissy, and Cameron face to face, with the world watching. Ratings gold. However, not everyone was on board. At first, Chrissy refused to sign off because she felt taken advantage of and embarrassed. She didn't want to face Jim on national television. But Mona knew how to push the right buttons. Cameron. Ever the showman didn't hesitate. He saw the opportunity and jumped at it. "Let's clear the air," he said. "If people want drama, let's give it to them." As word spread that all three had agreed to appear, tickets for the live special sold out in hours. Chrissy hesitated before agreeing, but in the end she said, "You want people to hear the truth, not just the gossip." On the day of the taping, tensions were extremely high. The green rooms were divided, security was doubled, and the energy was electric. Bloggers were setting up interviews outside the studio, and everyone wanted to see the explosion firsthand. Behind the scenes, Jim was getting ready as well, but his motivations weren't about ratings or redemption. Instead, he wanted closure. He wanted to look them both in the eye and say everything he couldn't say with fists or phone calls. He told his manager, "I'm walking in with pain, but I'm walking out with peace, whatever that looks like." When the cameras started rolling and the three of them sat down across from each other under the glaring studio lights, the room went silent. The host greeted everyone and wasted no time in asking Jim what he wanted to say. Whispered, "This isn't just life, Cam. This is betrayal." Chrissy's face went pale. "You know that, right? What I had with Jim was real, not a fling, and now I've ruined it." "For what?" Her voice cracked and even Cameron softened. "I'm not saying it's easy," she added, "but maybe it was inevitable." Jim's eyes hardened. "I didn't want this, but I saw it coming." He stood, the chair scraping loudly. "You wanted this, Cam. You took my woman, my friend, and now we're a joke." His voice rose. "You've wrecked everything we built." The host tried to calm things, but the damage was done. "Jim, can this be repaired?" Jim clenched his fists, exhaling slowly. Chrissy couldn't meet his eyes. "I don't know," Jim said quietly. "I don't know if it can be fixed." Chrissy's eyes welled up. "Please believe me, Jim. I thought I could handle it. I was wrong. I'm sorry." The audience watched, unsure who to support. Later, social media exploded. Jim's cryptic posts sparked rumors. Chrissy stayed silent. Old photos resurfaced, hinting at a deeper bond between Chrissy and Cameron. Jim went live, voice shaking. "I trusted them, and now it's all falling apart." Fans rallied, but others accused him of being dramatic. Eventually, Chrissy posted, "Sometimes life throws challenges you never expected. I just want peace. I never meant to hurt anyone." But Cameron stirred things again with a mocking video. "You think, this is just the beginning." Speculation soared. A face-to-face meeting was set. On the day, tension was high. Jim faced Cameron. "I'm done. I want answers now." Cameron crossed his arms. "You think I'm the villain? Maybe you need to look at what's really been happening." Jim stepped closer. "This isn't a game, Cam. It's about trust. You crossed the line." Cameron's voice cracked. "You're acting like I'm the only one to blame." You won't believe what happened behind closed doors when Jim Jones, the king of keeping it real, learns about Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin's secret night out. But believe me, the truth is much juicier than any of us could have imagined. It's not just a night out. It's an exposed scandal so hot even the paparazzi couldn't get a glimpse of it. Is this the end of the line for Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin? What were they hiding that could destroy everything we thought we knew about them? This isn't just a date night. This is the hidden truth that's about to blow up. Buckle up, because things are going to get really messy as we dive deep into the scandal that no one saw coming. Jim Jones's secret night out was revealed and he's furious. And that's just the beginning. Don't go anywhere. This ride is just getting started. It's a storyline no one saw coming. Moreover, who tipped off the public? A source so close to the situation that the only thing hotter than their secrets is the fallout that will follow. This has been simmering for a while. Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin, two prominent figures in the hip-hop world, have managed to keep something very significant under wraps. However, as is often the case, secrets eventually surface. And when they do, they tend to cause a storm. Can you guess what the storm is? We all know Cameron as the Harlem rapper who has been making waves in the industry for years with his witty, controversial persona and his iconic Killer Cam character. Then there's Chrissy Lampkin, the unrepentant and fierce reality TV star bestie known for her role on Love and Hip Hop. You'd think that after all her public drama with Jim Jones, she'd have learned a few things about avoiding the spotlight. But nope, here we are. A night out that was completely off the grid. A night that no one expected, and a night that would soon come to haunt them both. If anyone can stay ahead of the drama, it's him. However, this time he wasn't prepared for what was about to happen. Rumors had been circulating for weeks, whispering in the background of the hip-hop scene that something was wrong. People who know Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin say they've been spending more time together and not in the cordial, we're just old friends way they've always presented. No, this was different. It was secretive. When two well-known celebrities like Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin start to disappear, you know trouble is brewing. We step back and consider it. Jim Jones's response was completely expected. You could almost hear the rage in his voice when he discovered that Cameron and Chrissy were spending time together without him. However, Jim has always been a little protective of his people. So, if you don't think he's been keeping an eye on Chrissy and Cameron's movements, you're living under a rock. From the beginning, Cameron and Chrissy Lampkin's relationship has been difficult. They've both been through the ringer with Jim Jones, Love and Hip Hop fame, and the never-ending